Welcome to the OMG Talk podcast with Paul Finkelstein. Great advice and talk with small business owners, workaholics, and whiz-bang entrepreneurs. Here's your host, Paul Finkelstein.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Paul Finkelstein in the middle of the second speech. These 7 club officers and who they are. I was talking about the sergeant at arms and possibly the president, and then I got cut off from the OMG Biz Cafe network and Skylar. I was talking about the president's role and how they are the commander-in-chief for all the other 7 club officers that meet a couple of times a year at a minimum. There's a vice president of membership that helps guide the club and the members to help increase members as well as we're looking towards accumulating charter members. And you see the value at our not strict agenda, but very detailed agenda. So it's very important to stay on track so we could end on time close to 8 o'clock as close as possible. Although I hope you guys can stick around for a couple of table topics before we conclude our meeting tonight. Then there's the vice president of public relations, and that way that person can get some experience with some public relations tips as well. Might have lost Norman, or maybe he's still here and I just don't see him. Okay, I see him coming back in. Welcome back, Norman. I might have to mute yourself because the kitchen with Dinah. Then we have a secretary. Everybody knows what a secretary does, just keeps track of the minutes. And then every week they just do a synopsis of the meeting. I didn't ask anybody specifically to do that for our demonstration meetings, but the secretary would normally give us a couple of minutes in a written form that they would email out the club. We could actually have a specific spot to post in the OMG Biz Cafe called the Cafe Toastmasters area, where only the club members will see that, not the rest of the cafe. Then there's the treasurer, the vice president of education, which is the role that I'll probably have to take since I have been a Toastmaster for the longest of times compared to all of us here, and guide us through all of the pathways that Toastmasters gives us to follow. Everybody will have 2 different leadership pathways to follow, and if you complete all those 2 leadership tasks, you can be on your way to a distinguished Toastmaster, which is recognized in 149 countries. I'd encourage anybody to go all the way through distinguished Toastmaster if you could help it, and maybe it'd be a good example for your business community, your family community, etc. And those are the 7 positions: Sergeant at Arms, Vice President of Education, Treasurer, Secretary, Vice President of Public Relations, Vice President of Membership, and the President. So I know it's really exciting, Norman, but those are sub-club officers that needed to be said. And it also makes a pretty close 4 to 6 minute speech. I actually, while I was talking, I don't know if that's a yellow or a green.
Yellow.
It's a yellow. Okay, so I'm right in the middle. So it's so important that we not say words like so as an experienced Toastmaster. But at the same time, it's really important that we stick to our time so we could end on time. Toastmaster. And then at the end of your speech, you might say Toastmaster to call attention to them. And then you guys would customarily applause for the speaker. Thank you. All of you together in unison. Norman, Sherry, Mary with your video on, unless you're chasing one of your kids running around. Okay, and now that our 2 speeches are done, I will introduce back to our Toastmaster of the day, which of course I automatically assume that role, which is myself, for this demonstration meeting. And then the Toastmaster would introduce the general evaluator, and they would explain how we could do this section of our meeting, the 3rd section. Generally, we already did the table topics, but we'll do the evaluation section to go through the speeches. And I will introduce the evaluator in just a second, but I do have to call upon the timing parameters for the evaluators but I'm not going to do it yet. I'm getting close there, Mary, but close. Before I introduce the evaluator and also the timer, I do want to let you know that the general evaluator could also say a snippet about the evaluations, that they're not meant to be blunt evaluations or critiques or criticism, as some people might want to expect. The evaluator role is a good training ground for a manager or a future manager that might be too harsh at companies and their employees are leaving like flies. I think that the evaluator role if it's done correctly. I learned from Toastmasters that they do the Oreo cookie method or sandwich method, where you start on a high note. You say a couple of great things. You don't say 50 things that the person did wrong. You say like 3 or 4 things that they did right, make them feel good. And then just give them like one little snippet, the middle of the Oreo cookie, the cream, one tip to improve. And then end on a high note with 2 or 3 things that they did really well again, leaving them wanting to come back, because we only have 4 members here and we need every single one of them, because we want to have 20 minimum members. Yeah. I'll say that 10 times fast. By the next 4 to 6 weeks, when we officially launch our charter club. So that being said, our timer will come back and tell me the timing parameters of the timer. Thank you. Welcome back. And you will tell us the timing parameters for the evaluator, which will be 2 to 3 minutes, 2 minutes at the green, 2.5 at the yellow, and 3 minutes at the red, 30 seconds to wrap up. Could you hold us the cue card prop slides and tell us again the timing parameters for evaluator?
All right, wait a minute. Can you see me?
I can see you.
I could see nothing but a white screen.
Okay, that could be your medication, but we don't have time for that.
I think Ron is working on some coding, so it might be messing with the Skylar
page is unresponsive.
I had a hunch that he was doing coding, because I had to actually log in to get back into the Skylarverse.
All right, let me try this again. So, because I can't see, I don't know if anybody could see anything.
We see you, and I see all 4 people, and I hear you. But you can't see me doing my speech, but you could hear me. So I'll need you, if I could see you. So when you hold up your card, I can see you. And now I see 2 of you. You probably went to refresh the screen, I bet.
There we go. Yes, and I didn't see Norman before, but you kept mentioning Norman, so I assumed he was here. So all right. So now the timing parameters.
I see us all.
What's that?
I see all 4 of us.
Okay. Norman's medication's working also. Perfect.
My medication is working. Timing parameters.
Yes.
For that I'm supposed to be giving. Mm-hmm. Because my screen was coming apart, basically. I that's a filler word. I didn't catch what the timing parameters were for the general evaluator.
2 minutes. The general evaluator introduces the evaluator, but you as an evaluator, you would say 2 minutes at the green, 2.5 at the yellow, and 3 at the red, and 30 seconds to wrap up.
All right, 2 at the green.
Yes.
2.5. Yellow.
3.
And 3 is red.
30 seconds to.
With 30 seconds. I got it. All right. Let me know when it's my time to do it.
It's your time to do it.
Okay. 2 minutes. I will put up the green card at the 2 minute mark. At the 2.5 minute mark, we'll go with yellow. And at the 3 minute mark, we go with red, which doesn't look like red. But we'll go with red. And you have 30 seconds to wrap up.
And thank you, timer Sherry White. We all clap and applaud for her. It's a new thing that you might not be used to, because in the real world, there's not a whole lot of compliments and recognition that there should be. So we learn in Toastmasters to do more applause, and that's why we do a lot of it. And now I will introduce the first evaluator, which is Paul Finkelstein, evaluating Sherry White, her business, my business, her business, 4 to 6 minutes on her accounting business and how she's a tech superhero. So you can start the clock now. Hi, everybody. I'm Paul Finkelstein. It's so wonderful to be able to evaluate somebody that I met when I was just a student in college. I was barely 23 or something, and I didn't even know she was my office manager, and now I get to evaluate her later in life in a Toastmaster meeting, online no less, in Florida, not in New York, where we both were working together. So small world for sure. So one day you could be in a Toastmaster meeting with somebody you knew from 20 years ago as well, or maybe 35. So that means that we're both older, not just not just Sherry, but we're both older. And I love the color red. Wow, that's a great shirt. It really does stand out. It does help you online. It's really great when you blur your background and don't have any distractions in your background. I'm just going to mute the kitchen with Dinah. There we go, although he disappeared. So come back, Dinah. Didn't mean it. So Sherry, you are well put together. You have a marvelous logo there, as business leaders are trained to look great on camera and in person wherever they're presenting their professions. I could tell you did not just get into business yesterday. You've had loads of training. I bet you if we were in person, you would have a hearty handshake, even for a female. Usually, but I know I'm not prejudiced. Mary's like wondering, what do you mean by that? So I like to dig deeper, I suppose. But I digress. It was really pleasant to listen to your speech coming from our backgrounds and how we met, and to learn about your accounting and how you handle your clients. And I could tell that you have a passion about accounting. I almost said photography. On that note, I think that there's always something that we could always improve, no matter what it is. And I'm trying to think what it is that I could help you improving. I mean, I can think of two things, but really minor league the other thing. I mean, one little minor thing is that we have a camera up there at the top, and we tend to like look off to the side or on the other side. And eye contact online is sometimes challenging because we tend to look at the screen, but we're not looking at the person. So I just little tidbit, but there's the one improvement that I want you to focus on next time is this: is some of us, well, myself and you at least, I don't know about Minnesota, but some of us actually come from places where we learn to talk fast, like New York. And it's good sometimes to leave some pregnant pauses in between our speech, but sometimes we want to get all the information out in a short period of time. So that is a good area to practice for many of us. And these evaluations are good, not just for the speaker, but all of us will get ideas from these evaluations as you learn from this demonstration Toastmaster meeting. Back to you, Toastmaster. And then, hi, everybody. I'm Paul Finkelstein. I want to thank, I want to just, as the general evaluator, not the Toastmaster, I need to ask Sherry if the timing parameters were okay for Paul.
The time, yes, the timing parameters were okay for Paul.
Thank you.
It's difficult, I imagine, because the green, the yellow, and the red looks like red, but the green and the yellow kind of look a little alike.
Yeah.
So right, yellow on the yellow.
But
yeah, right.
I'm going to do that, but they're different, also different shapes.
For us colorblind people.
Lucky for you, Sherry, Adrian actually purchased paddles for us to use. And so you'll probably be getting those paddles to use. And she could probably give them to you in person one day. So now I have to introduce, as general evaluator, the evaluator for Paul Finkelstein. He was the speaker for, you remember, he talked about the 7 club officers and who they are. And I have to evaluate his Oreo cookie method for giving us a speech about the 7 club officers. So we know the timing parameters, but to give Sherry practice, can you tell us the timing parameters again for evaluation so Paul understands when he should stop?
Yes. 2 minutes. You'll see the green square. 2.5 minutes. You'll see the yellow rectangle. You're going to have to look at it by shape. And at 3 minutes, you'll see red. and then you have 30 seconds to wrap up.
And applause for Sherry. Woohoo! Okay, that's the best timer I've ever heard. And now we will go to the general evaluator and introduce Paul Finkelstein to evaluate Paul Finkelstein. I know this is a little schizophrenic, but no, it's not. Okay, so, and we have someone that does neurodivergent stuff, so you could help me with the schizophrenia, Mary.
DID.
On a serious note, what was that? Initials are what? Too much information or something? What?
DID.
What's
multiple personality disorder?
Yes, yeah, that is that. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Paul did a wonderful job describing all of the 7 club officers and what they do, or at least a snippet of what they do in a 4 to 6 minute time span. So it would leave you wanting more, so you could, inquire and race after him down the hallway and ask him about how those club officers worked throughout the years when he was in Toastmasters from 2014 to 2021, and if he had fun or not. Because sometimes club officers, could be task-oriented and all those kinds of things. Delivering your speech, though, Paul, marvelous. I mean, you had amazing enthusiasm, and you have a sense of humor, I could tell. God, could I actually do that to myself? I can tell myself I have a sense of humor. I can tell myself that I have enthusiasm. Tell you that you have enthusiasm. Thank you guys also for bearing with me and taking on a multitude of talents and roles and personalities in this evaluation. One tip that maybe I'd suggest Paul do is find some more members really quickly so that you don't have to take on all the roles and even evaluate yourself. But unfortunately, I do need to do that a little bit in the demonstration meeting because after 3 speeches is the ideal place to be able to start doing the evaluator role, so that after 3 speeches, you actually learn the most in your leadership journey and speech journey by evaluating other speeches. And there's actually a guide and a paper with different criteria on it and check marks like pace and tone of voice and vocal variety and enthusiasm, all kinds of things like that you could mention in your Oreo cookie method, sandwich method evaluations. I think Paul keeps the pace lively because he doesn't want the meeting to be boring. And even though everybody could be at different time zones and one person might be awake and one person might be just going to sleep, literally in different time zones. But I can't wait to hear your next speech on something more interesting, Paul, besides the 7 club officers, because I know you could have picked a better speech than just talking about the club officers. Maybe perhaps next time another speech could be what to do when you forget the title of an impromptu speech when the table topics master comes up on stage. Fellow Toastmasters and general evaluator, I conclude my evaluator session. And thank you, Sherry. The general evaluator now, as myself, as general evaluator, would ask Sherry, how did Paul do with the timing parameters of the evaluation? Pretty good? Or you're still timing?
Right on the money, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's always good to be on the money because we're a little bit over due to the interesting complexities of technology. So now we've actually concluded 2 of the 3 parts of our meeting, and now we're just going to have to do a couple of table topics to get you guys comfortable. And as a table topic master, I will give Norman and Sherry and Mary something to speak about for 2 minutes. The table topics, Sherry, is 1 minute for the green, 1.5 for the yellow, and 2 minutes for the red. I think Sherry accidentally clicked on something, so I'm not going to accept because I almost let you into another room.
Yeah, I don't know what I did.
Yeah.
All right.
That's okay. So tell us the timing parameters, which are 1 minute.
Say it again. Tell me. 1 minute?
1 minute for the green, 1.5 minutes for the yellow, and 2 minutes for the red, and then 30 seconds to wrap up.
Okay, got it.
So go ahead.
Toastmasters and guests, the timing is going to be for the table topics. 1 minute is green, 1.5 minutes is, well, green, square, 1.5 minutes yellow, rectangle, and 2 minutes red with 30 seconds to wrap up.
And you get a round of applause because you don't get a recognition enough of it in your business and life and family, so that you get it definitely here. And that's another reason why you should keep coming back every week to Toastmasters to get more recognition. That being said, let's see. What is next? Okay, so now with the table topic master, I will be the table topic master, and I will say a topic, and then I will call upon one of you guys. You guys. I didn't just do what millennials do and make it into one word and say use guys. Okay, so now, this is a very interesting word I learned at a conference, financial conference. And it's not meant to stump you. It's meant to help you think on your feet. So we'll say a topic, then say a name, and then you'll have, as soon as you utter your first word, you have 1 minute minimum to get to the green. Okay, so today's topic is, how do you make tomato sauce? How do you make tomato sauce? Mary Stanley.
How do I make tomato sauce? I get in my little car and I take my little butt to the store. I go pick it up at the grocery store, turn around, come home, go get the can opener, open up the can very carefully so you don't cut yourself, dump it in the pan. Then I add some spices like parsley and Italian seasoning, stuff like that. Then I take it, put it on the stove on low, turn around, take the can, rinse it out, put it in the garbage can. And then I keep going and make sure periodically I stir the tomato sauce. And we keep going. At the same time, I'm boiling water to add noodles to make spaghetti. And in the process of all that, you will get tomato sauce, not from scratch, from a can, but it's just as good as it is from scratch. Cheaper, a lot less work, a lot less mess, and a lot less stress. Tomatoes are actually a good form of...
Go ahead, keep going.
Tomatoes are a good source of vitamins and nutrients. And for those who have stomach issues, they actually have, it's not good for you because it has high acid content. Tomatoes are a fruit, not a vegetable. I am running out of stuff.
I love your use of
That's
language.
how you make tomato sauce. Go to the store, go to the store, pick it up, bring it home, pay for it, and put it in a pan.
This is a little quickie lesson to interject
totally.
at the end. Feel free to say back to you, Topics Master.
Back to you, Topics Master.
There you go. Just as a little, somewhat of a transition between the end and all that. Okay, so next up, we'll do our next topic. So it's still a surprise. It's still impromptu because there's two of you left to sweat it out. Really, you can see that it's not very hard. It's not meant to have a hard topic. I just came up with something on the fly because our Table Topics Master is probably tackling some emergency in her job, which still takes her working 24 hours a day. When you have your own business, we all know that is. So I'm glad that you guys were able to take off from your business for at least this hour plus a little bit. So our next table topic is, you ran your first marathon. What was your time? You ran your first marathon. What was your time? Sherry White.
I've never run a marathon, so I don't know what my time would be. I assume it would not be good. but I would certainly try. And I do understand that the best way to prepare for a marathon is to practice. I mean, after all, how do you get to Carnegie Hall but to practice? So the idea of running a marathon would have in the past required me to break it down into segments so that I could get my endurance up to be able to run a marathon. I now I couldn't run a marathon. And like I said, I don't know what my time would be because I have never done it. I have done a distance walk. It might have been a 5K a long time ago, and my feet were killing me when I was done. Probably because I didn't prepare properly for it. So one of the things that I learned is if I want to run a marathon, I need to get a scooter and use the scooter to do the marathon. And that would be what I would do if I were going to run a marathon. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
You did it. And then we have two more table topics, believe it or not. I'm going to have to ask, after this last table topic, I'll have to ask Mary, you could have the honors to give me one after this next table topic that is almost a surprise, but not. If this person could tell us if your computer repair person for your business goes on vacation for 30 days and you're desperate, is there like one procedure that you would suggest, like Control Alt Delete or restart the computer or some crazy thing like that you can tell your customer what to do when you're not there for 30 days? Norman.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes. Say if you were a computer IT specialist and you went away and your customer went away for 30 days, what would you tell your customer to do if they had nobody to call and they had no Ghostbusters and they were desperate? Would you tell them to go out and buy a new computer or just restart their computer or something else blank?
If you're restarting a computer, cures many ills. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. For instance, you may be on your computer and all of a sudden something pops up and says your computer is affected. Don't shut it off. Don't do anything. Call this number, which of course is a spam thing. What they have to know is all they do is click Control Alt Delete, get to the taskmaster, and shut down the browser that they're in, and then they can start their computer again. Now, if that doesn't, that may not work, but if they're really having a problem with their computer, you could call they have it at I forget the name of the store. I forget everything nowadays. But if you really need your computer, you will have to call some other tech support person if I'm not there. So first, restart your computer. If that doesn't work and you need your thing, buying a new computer won't help that much because it doesn't have any of your data on it. So you'll have to call somebody else at, like the Geek Squad to do it. Go to a place like Assist by AOL, and they help you, online. So the thing is, do not do business with a company that does not have sufficient backup because you're depending on them, and You don't want to depend on somebody who is not dependable.
Thank you, Norman. I see that Sherry has held up the red there, and as your temporary table topics master, everybody give Norman a round of applause because he does not get these applause at home, at work, as often as he should. So thank you, Norman, as well. And now our next table topic is kind of obvious. Mary, you're just going to have to surprise me and give me a topic to talk about, and I hope you're as kind as I think you are. Not.
So, I want you to talk about the first time you've ever seen snow and what life is like living in a frozen tundra. Think of what life would be like for you in Minnesota.
Fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, and especially our make-to table topic master, Mary. Mary thinks that I grew up in Florida, or maybe she's assuming that I grew up in Florida and never saw the sight of snow. I'm going to come out of the closet and let you know that I grew up in Rockland County, New York, where they serve coffee on a nice cold winter day. And my dad had a snow blower and he never used it. And mom said, go do the driveway. And I would take out the snowblower, and it was fun as a kid to use the snowblower because I didn't have to go shovel the snow off of a pretty long driveway, but it was a hill, so I would slide down it, I would shovel some, slide down it, shovel some, and it probably took longer doing that. But I think as a kid, the first few times it was fun. Maybe I even got a day off from school the next day. But the snow blower was so fun because you could turn it on, it worked like a lawnmower, and you could go down the rows, turn the swivel, and blow the snow off the driveway, and it got done really fast. So the frozen tundra in New City, New York, in Rockland County, was fierce snow. Is Minnesota like west of New York and a little south, or is it even with New York? It's a little higher?
We are north.
It's like closer to Canada, right? Of course it is. So it's a little colder where you're from. We still had some snow there. We've had about 2 feet of snow at times. I don't know what it was the past winter, but I think they did have a couple of hard winters. Back to you, temporary topics master. Thank you for trying.
Hey, you want an easy topic? There you go. You got one.
Yes, thank you for snowballing me or softballing me in with a nice snowball. And now we concluded with our table topic session. Now the table topics master would ask the timer. Everybody came in with the timing parameters, all 4 contestants. We came in pretty good. So now
everybody
what we
came in well.
Is the thank you, timer. And now the you would all vote for the best table topic. So now if you see the black chat bubbles at the bottom of the screen, if you click on the chat, and you could either put Mary, Norman, or Paul, or Sherry there, and whoever has their name repeated more than once will win the best table topic. Oh, somebody's nominating me. Somebody nominate somebody. Go ahead, Sherry, put somebody's name in. Norman, Mary, Paul, Mary, Sherry, Norman. Did I say everybody's name? You guys can figure out where the chat is. Uh-oh, I got 2 Pauls. These guys are being nice. These guys. Okay. And Norman, is there like a third Paul, or do you want to say Mary or Sherry to break the hat trick? Or Mary, no pressure. Or did you find the chat? Okay.
I can't find where to do it.
Oh, the chat is at the bottom of the screen. This is good for the next time. There's 2 black chat little.
Oh, okay.
It looks like a cartoon there.
Yeah, I see it.
Really,
Yeah.
Norman is the third one in from the left-hand
I
side.
see it.
So
Okay.
click on it, and you'll see some in there, and then you can put in a name Mary, Paul, Norman, Mary Poppins, Sherry White, Norman, Mary, Stanley, named after the Stanley Hotel from The Shining, maybe? No? Red rum. Okay. Sherry, see, we got another one. Yay, Sherry. And you know what? I should round it off a little bit to give everybody some recognition. I'll put Mary's name in there. And we are all mentioned in there. And then we take the winner, which we would say at the end of the meeting, which we made it through all of them. Because if we had done the table topics first, we would take the winner of this and the winner of the best evaluator, which if it wasn't myself twice, we would see who the best evaluator is. And then that's another way to give some recognition, because we don't get that in the real world as much as we should. And now I will turn the meeting back over to the Toastmaster, or the general evaluator, and the general evaluator was great job. And we'll turn the meeting back over to the Toastmaster of the day. The Toastmaster of the day will then give out the award for the best evaluator. We'll skip that part because we had two of the same people who was partial schizophrenic. And could you be partial pregnant? Okay, so don't answer
No.
that. Thank you. And then the best table topic was Paul. Everybody clap. Yay! And now we have a good excuse to make a nice certificate to put all over social media so that our second demonstration meeting had a winner from today. And now we will turn the meeting back over to our club president, which will go over the roles for next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The guest link you can give out to a friend to experience a real Toastmaster meeting. We'll aim to we're going to start on time next week. We're like 10 or 15 minutes over due to two people having a catastrophe, and then maybe the Skyliverse got taken down due to some important code that was inserted into it. That's what the Sergeant at Arms told me just a moment ago. He's right next to me. Okay. All right. So next week, we normally need at least a minimum of a Toastmaster of the day. But if you guys are all brand new, then I'll resume that role as Toastmaster of the day. 2 speakers minimum. If you look for another business person that would like to come into our third demonstration meeting, or if you haven't done one yet, or you want to volunteer somebody to come to our meeting to give a talk for 4 to 6 minutes, and we will evaluate them the Toastmasterly way for a 2 to 3 minute evaluation based on the Oreo cookie method and sandwich method. And then their second speaker will talk about some area of Toastmasters to be helpful of what to expect. Maybe it might be talking about the 13 leadership paths and what they are, so you have something what to expect if you keep coming with us. I highly suggest you do, no matter what age, because if you're retired or you know somebody that is, they can come to Toastmasters for storytelling and cancel their cable and get a different kind of excitement. And we're still kind of like TV because we're on the screen, just that we provide our own commercials and humor. And then there's 2 evaluators. I'll wait till you guys get going with your official speeches to get to 3 speeches, and then you'll feel safe to do an evaluation. And once you start doing evaluations and speaking at the same time, you'll see your skills skyrocket. And then Topics Master. Anybody here could volunteer to be Topic Master. Do I have a Topic Master volunteer? Or should we let Adrienne come back next week and somebody here be back up? So Mary volunteering for Topic Master, and then we have a timer, grammarian, and an awe counter. Now, actually, we're all the way back at the president, and I have to backtrack just a short snippet before we conclude, because this is an important, we have to ask for the reports from not the Toastmaster, from the president, but back to the general evaluator. And the general evaluator, due to my multitasking, I have to slip in. The general evaluator asked for the reports from the beginning of the meeting that the Toastmaster told us about. Tag was to how to remember what those helper roles are, which are timer, awe counter, and grammarian. So as the general evaluator, I would ask the timer for the report on the timing. Everybody was great during the timing, during the topics and the evaluation portions of the meeting. Timer, Sherry?
Yes. Everybody was right on time.
Okay, perfect. And that's what we like to hear. And then the ah counter, I believe, was Mary. You had a heck of a job counting the ahs and ums and likes. I counted at least 3, by the way, for you. So how did we do? And also, these helper roles help us with our listening skills, because a lot of businesses, they are such great talkers, but we all need to listen a little bit more than we usually do as well. So tell us, how did we do on the ah counter?
So, may do it by individual or as a group in general?
Either one. You could, I'm going to have to take out the pig, though, if you get too long. Even though we don't have a timer for these rolls, but usually 45 seconds you got.
Paul, you did awesome. When you turned around and you put your emotion into it and you stopped thinking, you didn't have your ahs and ums and fillers. When you started slowing down and thinking what we were going to say, that's where the fillers came in. So for you, don't think, just blink, just speak. Speak from the heart. Sherry, with you, what you did, what was so awesome was you talked in what do you call it? Poem speak, binameter. So you would rhyme in certain paragraphs, certain phrases, and you would keep going. And the biggest issue is you were so conscious about what you were saying, you would kind of start slowing down. And that's where the filler words could come in for you. The way you speak is just, I love listening to you talk.
Thank you.
Norman, what you did great was taking a topic that I had no idea what was even talking about and made it so I understood what it was.
Thank you.
And the struggle that you had was just keep going. Otherwise, you did really well. My biggest thing was I did good at the start. It was what to do at the end. So I started filling in a bunch of words, which were a lot of filler words.
Before we go, I have some food for thought for all of you. A man who does what he likes knows freedom. A man who likes what he does knows happiness.
Is that it? Oh, that's any thought. Okay, thank you so much for that. Let's give Norman a round of applause, just to taking a little bit out of turn, but we'll accept it. And Mary, thank you so much for the ah counter. And then there's the grammarian, which I think is Sherry. Maybe is it you or is it Mary again? What was keeping track?
I think it was Mary again. I think it was Mary again.
Mary again, to keep track of the use of the English language, use of the phrases, use of anything inspirational, any interesting phrases we said today. Anybody use the word loyalty in their speeches, which sometimes we forget to do? Tell us about the grammarian report.
No one used the word loyalty. With speaking wise, Paul with the accents and, going with the rhythm and adjusting your tone was great. With Sherry, it was the ionic diameter. There, I got it. And how she would speak. Everyone talked in correct English grammar and didn't use slang for the most part.
Is that a pause or you're done?
Huh?
Is that a pause or you finished?
I drew a blank. I'm finished.
Okay.
I just drew a blank.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Word Grammarian, for that report. We love it. And that are all the reports. It includes that. And then I go to the Toastmaster of the day, most welcome guests. And Toastmasters, I do thank you all for coming. I will officially put the gavel down to conclude our meeting since we're way over time. But the general evaluator, as a rule, also would evaluate the whole meeting as a whole, which I even skipped again as I went back to the president, which as a whole, the general evaluator says, how did we do as a meeting? And the general evaluator would take notes about how the meeting is throughout everything. So I know how the meeting was because I wrote down these notes here on my screen that I showed earlier about our agenda. I had agenda. I made sure to teach people about the applause between speeches, what the roles were. I purposely did a speech about the 7 club officers so people could get familiar with those. And we covered the 3 parts of a Toastmaster meeting. So if you went to Bucharest, Romania in an English-speaking Toastmaster club, you would be able to follow along just perfectly. And I also loved hearing about our business leaders to be able to do a 4 to 6 minute speech as an icebreaker. And since you already did one now, when we start as a charter club, the very first speech in all 13 pass is an icebreaker speech for 4 to 6 minutes. It's 4 to 6 minutes because of the fact that a table topic is 1 minute or 2 minutes at maximum with 30 seconds to wrap up. So just a couple of more minutes is your first icebreaker speech. And then the next speech after that is 5 to 7 minutes. And then all the speeches are generally 5 to 7 minutes. But there is a couple of special projects that are longer. But for the club length of time, an hour, hour and a half at most, a 10-minute speech would probably be the longest. And sometimes the manual will say 15 or 20 minutes, but we just cap it at 10 minutes for a speech during the club. Now, you're allowed to give a speech outside the club if you're in the presence of another Toastmaster that's officially registered in Toastmasters and paid their dues. Then you can both get credit for an evaluation role and a speaker role and move up the chain with your leadership project and learn faster. So if you want to get more speeches in, you could just meet with, like, I can meet with Mary and do a 1-to-1, and she can give me a speech, and I can evaluate her in 4 to 7 minutes and hold up slides if I want to. And she can get credit for a speech, and you could do one of those per month in addition to the club speeches. So thank you guys all for coming. And next Wednesday is 7 o'clock. I'll be a Toastmaster, and Mary will be a Table Topics Master. And now I hope you guys had a fun time as well as a learning experience and what to expect at a Toastmaster club. And you could give me a round of applause if you want to. Okay, thank you so much.
You didn't stop talking yet, so we couldn't.
Yeah, right. When you start in Toastmasters, sometimes you can't shut them up. Yes, it's true.
It's true.
And now,
I think we should have the meeting a little bit longer so we don't feel so rushed.
yeah, I think 90 minutes technically is the approximate time that we had, and that gave us enough time for 3 speakers, 3 evaluations, and about 10 to 13 different table topics.
Especially since the process for most of us is new or new again. So we are going to have to be, fill a word.
Paul and Sarah, the real couple that cares about your Medicare, says that Tony from trcvoiceovers.com is awesome if you want the best voice on the planet for any Audible project. Don't hesitate to reach out to him at Tony@trcvoiceovers.com.